And I'd like to start with the first superhero that I ever met, and I met her when I was 6 years old. She was not wearing a cape or tights. She was wearing a $4 house dress from Woolworth and Wilco and blue Ked sneakers. I spent a lot of my childhood at my grandmother's house, and that was another oasis of calm. As I had stated before, my childhood, it was really chaotic. The household I grew up in a very short nutshell, a suicidal father, an anxiety-ridden mother, understandably so, and by the time he was 14, alcoholic brother, who has celebrated 20 years of sobriety September 18th. And I was left often to take care of myself, to raise myself. But the most beautiful gift of my childhood was my grandmother, Grandma Quigney, and spending time at her house. And at Grandma's house, there was a playground across the street. Now, it was one of those playgrounds that had the most awesome 1970s playground equipment. We're not talking those wimpy little plastic slides 3 steps up. We're talking the steel slide about 13 steps to the top. Some of you are nodding your heads, you know about these slides. Yes. And we would wax it with wax paper and slide down onto concrete, you know, and we all lived to tell the tale. And the other thing at that playground were the sycamore trees. These trees just towered up into the sky, and their branches just beckoned us to climb. And I really wanted to climb the trees. But the problem was, at the age of 6, I was about the size of a 3-year-old. I was only 3 pounds when I was born. I was really tiny. And I couldn't reach that bottom branch. No matter how much I willed myself, I couldn't do it. And I lived in a neighborhood where I was one of 2 girls in the entire neighborhood. It was all boys. And all the boys, including my older brother, Jimmy, they would climb up the tree, lickety-split, and leave me standing down below, wishing I could join them. But I just couldn't. And when they climbed up into that tree, they had a favorite song they would sing. Some of you might know this. It's on 3 Dog Nights, Joy to the World. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, was a good friend of mine. Everybody. I never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine. So they would sing that. Don't ask me why 8, 9, 10-year-olds were singing that song, but that's a song of choice. And they were singing that at the top of the tree, and I just couldn't climb up to join them. One day, my brother Jim, he decided to have some compassion and help me. So my brother climbed down out of the tree, and cradling my little Ked-sneakered foot in his hands, he boosted me up to that first branch, and I grabbed a hold, and I pulled myself up, and I swung my leg over, and then I grabbed the next branch, and I pulled myself up, and I swung my leg over, and branch by branch, I made it all the way up into the middle of the sycamore with all the boys in the neighborhood. I felt so cool. I felt super. And then Paul Fisk, that was my brother's best friend, he turned to my brother and he said, "Hey, let's go to Stevie Fenner's house. Let's watch cartoons. They've got cable." And just like that, all the boys climbed down out of the tree, leaving me there. And that's when the realization struck. I had no idea how to climb down. And that's when I made my first gigantic mistake. I looked down. Jimmy, wait! I don't know how to climb down! But my brother and all the boys, they were long gone at that point. And I did the only thing a 6-year-old might do if she's climbed up a tree and has no idea how to climb down. What do you think I did?
Cried.
I cried. Oh no! I don't know how to climb down. Worked myself into quite a tizzy. And then I did the only other thing that a 6-year-old might do if she's climbed a tree and doesn't know how to climb down. I called for help. And of course, the first person that came to mind, Grandma. Grandma! Grandma! Help! I don't know if your grandma has the superpower that my grandma had, that supersonic grandma hearing. From way inside the depths of her house, she could hear my desperate cries. And in a flash, she was out on the front stoop wearing her uniform, the $4 house dress from Woolworth and Wilco, her blue Ked sneakers. "Chrissy, honey, where are you?" "Grandma, I'm up here." "Ah, now, Chrissy, where are you? You don't play tricks on your grandma." And it took every bit of courage to peel my hand away from the tree, wave it out from the branches. Grandma saw me. With a sense of purpose, she came striding across that playground. And then standing beneath the tree, Grandma, Pennsylvania Dutch, always practical. Well, Chrissy, honey, climb down. Grandma, I can't. I don't know how. Still Pennsylvania Dutch and practical. All right, now, Chrissy, if you can climb up the tree, you can climb down the tree. No, I don't know how. And then my grandma did the only thing a grandma can do when her 6-year-old granddaughter is stuck up in a tree. My grandmother transformed into a superhero right in front of my eyes. All 4'8" of her, she hunkered down and then leaped up, flying through the sky, grabbing a hold of that bottom branch. And she pulled herself up, and she swung her leg over. And she reached up and grabbed a hold of the next branch, pulled herself up, and swung her leg over, till she had climbed all the way up, one branch beneath me. Chrissy, honey, we'll climb down together, branch by branch. Now, you're small but mighty, just like me. And with her encouragement, we climbed down branch by branch, all the way until that last bottom branch. She gently lowered herself to the ground and, holding her arms out, Chrissy, honey, jump. I'll catch you. I don't know, Grandma. It's still pretty far. Oh, honey, I've got you. And that's when I took my first flight, my first leap of faith into the arms of my grandma, the first superhero I ever met.